The following is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
The final round of this 2018 season is finally here at the beach. That's right, Daytona Beach, Florida, USA. We hope you brought the sunscreen, towels, and the swim trunks as we get ready to watch round 12 of the iRacing Kamel GT Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing Channel and the iRacing Esports Network. Hi, I'm Sean Ambrose, and with me in the booth today is Stefan Schlock. Joe Peak taking a little time off this weekend, so we wish him well, travel safe, and we'll see you next week. Behind the scenes is our director, the doctor, Jed Yaman, and he's using cameras provided by the one and only, the great Dougie Beard. Stefan, the worldwide international center of speed, Daytona International Speedway. Buddy, this track is giving us some of the more memorable races in history, whether it be in NASCAR, in IMSA, in, well, let's face it, motorcycles. Oh, motorcycles, yes. We're going to be talking about those a little bit today because we're running the Moto course here at Daytona. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, Sean, the world center of racing always is a must-have in a racing game. This layout, though, it's an interesting one. Used for the Daytona 200, a yearly 200-mile motorbike race, first held in 1937. The first edition was won by Ed Ironman Kretz, riding on an Indian Sports Scout. Today's track that lays before us is technically not 100% the right layout because there's a second chicane on the apron before the actual bus stop, and that second chicane there is used for the Moto layout in real life, but we use the original road course's bus stop. The Moto layout itself stands out with a very tight infield, and if you forget that you have to turn right at turn 4, you'll soon find out that you did something wrong, as you suddenly will face a lot of headlights. Let's hope that nobody forgets about that right-hander. The normal road course is already tricky enough to get right, but the Moto layout is even harder to get right. Tight apexes with 2 braking zones where you brake while turning, and on top of that, a hard acceleration zone onto the backstretch. From there on out, we're all good to go. Normal road course, 31-degree banked oval turns, thundering back to the finish line. But let's not waste any more time and take you on board with our GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Stefan Schlocker in the GSRC Audi, so let's do a lap around Daytona. Turn 1 is one of the trickiest braking zones in racing. From the highest speed on the track down to where you're braking hard while turning and dealing with a change in banking. Expect mistakes here. Make sure the car is planted because quickly you've got to weave it through the little chicane of 2 and then try to pull it off to the left across the pit exit. The International Horseshoe will tempt you into an early apex, and even though the access road on the exit allows you plenty of room, you don't want to enter too shallow. Now, unlike the normal road course, you're going to hold to the left because we've got another chicane in place of the kink. This right-left forces you to compromise on your line so that you don't wind up coming in at the wrong angle as you enter back onto the regular circuit. But you might notice that you're now heading backwards towards the Western Horseshoe. Except you're going to take this little version of the hairpin to the inside instead of the normal one. This is going to cut across to a completely new bit of track that removes the banking of NASCAR 1 and 2. Hug the right side because the next left-hander is pretty critical. This empties you back onto the oval portion, but on the backstretch, so you'll be on the power for quite a while. The cone to the left should help guide you, but you still want to get it up and against the wall as you approach the bus stop chicane. Just like on the regular road course, it's all about getting a smooth entry so that you can power out of there as early as possible. As you return to the banking of NASCAR 3 and 4, you won't be lifting all the way into the first corner again. That means you can expect some draft battles in the Audi along here and easy swapping of positions. But hopefully, if you've kept it all together, you've now finished a lap around Daytona.
And that's a bad fast lap around the Daytona Moto course here in Daytona Beach, Florida. Let's look here, round 12, final round of the season. Why don't we go through the standings here real quick and take a look at these GTP standings. And of course, you're all used to hearing Joe go over those with you. Well, today you got me doing the GTP standings, and Fabian Gerber's got her all locked up there. You see those pocket points he's got there with the 2 drops this season, 16. He's 38 points ahead, and unfortunately, that's not good news for Ardo Yamaki. It looks like he's going to have to settle for that second place spot this season. Justin Albrecht with a really strong season. Been up there in third for a while, held on to it for quite a bit. He's going to finish top 3 in points, and that's a good one for the United States driver. Mike Houghton has a good one. Now, he is under threat from our old friend Timu Toika. All the fat Timu fans can chime in whenever they want. He is still kind of got an outside chance here to maybe take down Mike Houghton. Haven't seen if he's here yet. He is, and so is Houghton. So those two we'll keep an eye on today. Now let's look at the GTP light standings, and Martin Krajcik has got that all wrapped up there, representing the Czech Republic. Johnny Bell is going to battle with Matthias Guldager here to the end. They are only separated by a point. Mike Kopak, they're in 4th, and Dave Peterson rounding out the top 5. Those two have got a little bit of a battle going themselves. We'll see if they're both here and check in with them in a little bit. But Stefan, the battle for the Audi Championship in the GTO standings looks like it's already been wrapped up too.
Yes, we have already crowned our champion here in GTO. Felt like winning it. He's right now 28 points ahead of Jamie Hall. Riley Thompson in 3rd place. He is still in contention for this 2nd place. Obviously, Dirty Talk Sim Racing trying to do a 1-2 here to close out the season. Nicolas Mecanos in 4th place, and Owe Trangerate, your winner of the Lotus 49 Championship, in 5th for your GTO standings. For GTU, we have Milan Arnosi. He is going to win your GTU standings here in front of Andrea Albertinelli. Hideki Koivisto, he is 3rd right now, 60 points behind Milan. And this 3rd place is still under contention there. Thomas Delmuth, he is able to snitch that position away. He's up 1 position from the last race. And Reed Miller storming up the field, +3 here, going into the top 5 for our last race. 76 points behind your GTU leader.
There we go, Stefan. It helps when I hit the right button to activate my microphone. Listen, hey, that's all great. The points are, like we said, pretty much wrapped up. Our champions are evident at this point, but what we don't know are the race details. Let's look at those now here, as they are very important to what's going on today. Again, a configuration we're not used to seeing with this Daytona Moto course, but it is a 40-minute race here in round 12 today, just like we have most weeks here in the Kamel GT series. Setups, well, they're wide open. These drivers are, some of them are secretive, but a lot are shared, to be honest with you. The Kamel GT community does a great job of helping everyone out get ready for these races, but there's a few adjustments you can make on both the Nissans and the Audis, and here a little bit lower wing and maybe a little bit better handling is what you're looking for, especially on the Moto course with the changes in this circuit and how basically the NASCAR part of turns 1 and 2 are completely changed as opposed to what we're used to seeing on the Daytona road course. But you know, like I said, 40 minutes really all you need to know about this race today. They're not going to need any fuel. In fact, Stefan, with the long pit road and how tough it is to get out of pit road here, if you've got a pit, you've pretty much lost all chance of getting anything positive out of this race, haven't you?
Yeah, pit lane is about half the track length, so if you really have to serve a penalty or whatnot, your race it's done. Let's just face it, it's done. You won't have any chance to catch up with anyone anymore.
All right, now, so only a 10-minute qualifying session right now in the Nissans. Dave Walsh is on the pole, the UK&I driver with a pretty good qualifying effort of 1:26.353, and Riley Thompson, who we said is got a chance to move up in the points. Well, he's got the provisional pole right now in the GTOs. Riley with a 1:34.332. So, Stefan, a little surprised to see Dave Walsh up there, but Riley, not a huge surprise.
Yeah, Dave Walsh is right now a huge surprise, especially being 6/10 ahead of Arto Iamaki, which we're accustomed to see pretty much either first or second all season long. Riley Thompson, obviously no stranger to first, but also he is right now 4/10 faster than Jamie Hall in second.
I think he's using Jamie's setup too, to be honest with you. Jamie shares those, and I know Riley has said before he usually starts with Jamie's setup and makes any tweaks on that. He usually doesn't have to make many. So Riley beating the teacher at his own game here. But qualified about to wrap up here, and then we'll get right to the racing. Rolling start here in the Kamel GT Series, and well, when they get rolling, it'll be on to the tri-oval here at Daytona along that front stretch, and they'll get it started across the stripes there when the green flag unfurls. But I think we're safe to go to the grid now. We are set and ready. Cars getting ready to grid. Dave Walsh going to be on the pole with that great time. Arto Iamaki going to fill out that front row. Row 2 is going to be Antti Lepisto. Martin Krajcik there in 4th. Row 3, Fabian Gerber in the number 2. Rob Olenek starting 6th today. Row 4, Teemu Toika starting 7th in the number 10. Carl Kask. There's a name we haven't seen much this season. He'll start 8th in the number 19. Row 5, Luis Emerton and James King running out the top 10. And then we'll drop down to row 6. It's going to be Tanner McCullough and Fabian Youngbluth. And 13th in the field for the Nissans, Renato Hermivoto.
Well, for your GTU's lead, we have Riley Thompson, Jamie Hall in 2nd, lining up alongside him. Over Trangerate in 3rd, Philip Lake, in 4th, Matthias Schett in 15th, Nicholas Mukanos, he is 6th, Frank Escuri 7th, Dennis Neidhart in 8th, Milan Arnoshi in 22nd overall, that is already. Jonathan Boisvert, Donald Peak, Hideki Koivisto, and your field will round out Michael Haynes.
Ooh, the great Don Peak in the field today. All right, we'll have to keep an eye on him. But we're ready to go. Most of these cars are on the grid, and right now, sitting here, they'll take a quick trip through the bus stop. That's kind of where they're starting here. They'll roll off into the bus stop, and then they'll come out into NASCAR 3. Get them wound up through NASCAR 4. That pace car will peel off. We understand that maybe we may have an AI driver in the pace car today. Of course, NASCAR testing AI for future use here on the service, and maybe we're testing that today in the pace car. We'll see here. Maybe our artificial intelligence will find a way to get this right up front, Stefan.
Well, it will be interesting indeed to see what our AI can do here at Daytona International Speedway. Obviously, quite an easy entrance into pit lane, so let's hope that our AI is able enough to do that.
All right, here we go. Folks, hang on to your seat, because this is going to be a good one here today. Again, a lot of unfamiliarity with this course, with the Daytona Moto course, and hopefully these drivers have gotten a lot of practice in. My practice was fun but not rewarding, unfortunately. So gonna have to work on that. And here we go. The green is out. The pace car stays on track, but the green is away, and we're mean green and underway down into turn 1. Dave Walsh battling with Iamaki. Iamaki almost gets in him. He's got to check up. That stacks everybody up back behind Iamaki. Dave Walsh off to a great start there, Stefan.
Well, the first few rows here in GTO are still side by side, but Riley Thompson has lost the lead to Jamie Hall while Riley Thompson was starting on the outside here, but we were single file for the first 5 cars.
And up front in a Nissan is still Dave Wall stepping away. Iamaki back here dealing with Anthony Lepisto. Fabian Gerber's already up a spot getting around. Martin Krejcik on that start. But everybody's gone line astern here, taking it easy here in the first few minutes of the race here with the Nissans.
Well, the GTOs, they're now, pretty much everyone is single file right here. And I also have to say they're catching up really fast to the back end of the GTP field.
They are. In fact, Jamie Hall already just not too far behind Renato here. What, under 3 seconds? And once they get out of the bus stop and out onto the banking here, he may even be able to close a little bit more because flat out speed on the Audi, almost as good as these Nissans. We'll see here moving up into the Nissan field, though, and we've got Luis Emerton trying to hold off Carl Kask. He just took that position from him. Kask got James King behind him. Ooh, and Emerton really takes that low, shallow line in, and that allows Kask to get by. Now they're side by side, heading down to the horseshoe.
Well,
Kask,
I have to interrupt you just, sorry. Jamie Hall just lost 2 positions to Riley Thompson and his teammate Phil Lake, but Phil Lake outbreaking himself into turn 1, losing the 2nd place position to Jamie Hall again, so Riley Thompson back in the lead of your GTO field.
Alright, and Riley off to a good start, getting that position back up front. Oh, and we've had trouble here. Luis Emerton's off. Got that on the replay for you here real quick. See what happened to Luis. SimSport News, Nissan, and I think Luis missed a shift and blew a motor. And that is going to put Luis Emerton out of this race early. Wow, just a few minutes in. We've seen these Nissans detonate this season, Stefan. It's I know you're used to driving the Audi, but and we've seen a few of those detonate, but more than Nissans. It's easy to miss a shift.
It's incredibly easy to miss that shift. It's in the Audi, it's not that of a problem if you accidentally shift from 4th into 3rd instead of into 5th. But if you do that in the Nissan, no matter how short that shift into that wrong gear is, it instantly blows up on you.
Well, that is a shame. That oh, and just now we had a bit of a problem. McCullough gets spun around. Had a little bit of help on that one as we get the replay here. And under braking, McCullough, a little bit of contact from Renato. Didn't hit him really hard. It wasn't a punt, but that tap is enough to send him around and drop Tanner back to the end of this field.
Back to the end of the field, and with quite a distance to the next car in front of him.
Yeah, and he's got the train. The Audi train is on the way. Choo-choo, here they come. Wow. And unlike the Nissans, which have started to spread out just a little bit, the Audis are still nice and neat. The top 9 still all really hooked together around this circuit.
Top 9, about 2 seconds between them. That is exactly what this layout does to you. You have the very big straights and then a very technical infield, but you can't do all that much in the infield if you're in a train, so they stick together right now. But we have a tiny bit of a rupture between the first 4, then we have 5th, that's Mucanos, and then behind him that's again a rupture, and that is Mathieu, our GTU driver there for Total Downforce Racing. He is in 6th right now, but we have a pass for the lead. That is Jamie Hall on the outside here for Riley Thompson. But Phil Lake is now trying to get the inside on his teammate. 3 wide, not quite. Phil Lake goes into 1st here.
Wow, and Riley Thompson hanging on to it, drifting it through the turn. And that does allow Phil Lake to get back up in the lead. Let's go on board with Riley, and Watch the hands, folks. That's what you always need to keep an eye on when we do these onboards. We'll see which direction that wheel is facing here. Yeah, boy, putting a lot of input into that wheel. Hangs on. Oh, we got a replay here of Cask. Now, he had been battling, Cask had been battling James King. King had gotten around. That's King in the Bushfink car up front. Fabian. Oh, there's Cass going off there. Oh, that bounces that Nissan all around. Not a clearance, a lot of clearance on that car. McCullough going around again.
And I can report McCullough has retired his car after this spin.
All right, we got to go up to the battle here for P2 in the Nissans. Lepisto tired of riding in third. He is all up under the wing there of Ardo Iamaki pressing to make a pass. I think we might see it here when they get up on the NASCAR part of the track. Look at the 007 cam there. Yamaki's had great pace to start this race, but up front, Dave Walsh has continued to open his lead, now up to almost 3 seconds. There's Walsh getting through the bus stop. Now let's see if Lepisto get a run at Iamaki here as they come through NASCAR 3. Boy, just not getting a lot of tow, Stefan.
Not getting a lot of tow, but that is quite normal in the Nissan, sadly. They are so aerodynamically slim that you do not get a whole lot of a hold there. But for the Audi, it's much different, as these cars really suck up to the Nissan when they're in a draft.
Why don't we drop back to the Nissans real quick? Matthew Jette just got around Nick Bucanos. This is a train of cars back here in the middle of the field. Jette just pulls out, and I'm sorry, Bucanos got, Jette got, totally lost that, I'm sorry. Jette got around Scurry, yes. I'm sorry, I just totally got lost there.
But we're back with the battle for the lead. Riley Thompson last lap around, he overtook Phil Lake on the draft, but Phil Lake coming back once again for Riley Thompson, and Phil Lake now back to the lead.
I have a feeling they're going to keep trading blows here. We're still just a young 9 minutes into this race, and this is what the battle has been like in the GTO field since we dropped the green. Riley and Phil have changed positions now, what, maybe 4 times already in just that 10 minutes, I think, 4 or 5 times. It's really the effect of the draft here, and what the Audi has and the Nissan doesn't is it has a big hole it cuts in the air, and they will do a lot of drafting out on the bigger sections of the track, unlike the Nissan.
Well, I tell you something, who is also fighting, Matthias Schede. He made a mistake out of the International Horseshoe, losing the position to Franco Scurry, then going side by side with Dennis Neidhart through the tricky infield. And Matthias sadly had to give up the position to Dennis Neidhart, so he lost 2 positions there within half a lap.
Wow, the Anvil having a little bit of trouble. We were watching, that was that battle I was trying to allude to a little while ago with Scurry in the middle of that and Jette, but Jette struggling a little bit now. Hey, listen, folks, back up in the Nissans, I will tell you that Ardo Iamaki and Antti Lepisto still pretty much attached here on track, and Dave Walsh continuing to move ahead. Walsh with just a great qualifying effort, great start, pretty much come from out of nowhere. Here comes the pass, Iamaki trying to hold him off. Lepisto down on the bottom. Lepisto straddling that yellow line. You gotta be smooth or you're scuffing speed, and I think that's what killed Lepisto there.
It kinda does seem so, as they went past Michael Haynes, the first GTO to be lapped now. And
oh, and we got a battle here for 5th as Olenek is fighting Krejcik, and Olenek's going to clear him. Wow, off the exit there, he's able to get around, and boy, now Krejcik's got to worry about Teemu Toika. Toika's right there too.
Yeah, Olenek here showing that he is not only fast in the GTO, but also really fast in the GTP, getting past Martin Krejcik here for the top 5 position.
Boy, this little bit of traffic is really making this battle interesting now. Oh, want to get bottled up here, Michael Haynes, trying to stay out of the way. It still bottled him up. And everybody's going to get away safe and clean. Olenek actually gets a great run out of the infield, in through the bus stop. He gets it in there deep. Good run there by Olenek.
Well, while this was all going on, Riley Thompson took back the lead from Phil Lake 1 lap ago. This lap around, Phil Lake drafted past Riley Thompson once again, but also simultaneously Ove Trangerade overtook Jamie Hall for 3rd position. So Ove into 3rd, Riley 2nd, and Phil Lake is right now your leader of the GTO field.
This is going to come down to the last lap draft if all these cars can stay together. I mean, honestly, I don't see any other situation here. It's like I said, as long as they can stay together on track, I think honestly that it will be the last lap that decides it. Yamaki up front coming up on more traffic. They just passed Don Peak. Familiar looking car. On board here though for this on screen. Are we gonna get a pass here? Let's see.
It does seem like that Riley Thompson wants to get away from Ove Trangerade behind them, but Ove Trangerade with so much more speed right now than the two in front that it is nearly impossible for them to break away from the cars behind them.
Yeah, well, Riley was trying to give him a little bit of bump draft there and maybe pick up a little extra speed, but it didn't help. It really still brought them in.
Oh, we have a wreck in the bus stop. That's Teemu Toika.
Oh, yes it is. It's Toika. It's Jonathan Boisfert. And oh boy, what a mess. I think we've got the replay here for you coming right now.
Yes, Boisfert is sadly the cause of this. Having a bit of a wiggle out of the bus stop, catching out the cars behind them. They have no time to react and sadly get collected in his mistake.
Yeah, boy, and Olenek tried to clear him before the bus stop, and it just wasn't happening. So many cars involved in that, good race cars involved in that. Olenek is now out of this race. Wow. A lot of damage. Obviously, that car was up on its lid, and that might be a little bit too much damage to come back from, at least to be at speed, and that's what you've got to have a lot of here at Daytona. Back to the battle in the GTOs. Phil in and around the lake, still in the lead. Thompson coming around.
Will Thompson be able to hold 1st position here away from Lake? Yes, it does seem so. Once again, they trade position because of the draft. Very interestingly, though, they have really dropped Lucanos over the last few laps. He's now about, what, 3-4 seconds behind the pack?
He's lost his pack altogether. Krejcik and Lepisto. Now, Krejcik's getting around Lepisto. Lepisto's fighting back. But something must have happened with Antti, because now Gerber is up to 3rd. Anti's back here struggling all of a sudden.
Out of the bus stop, too much outside curb, and he's kind of loops it around, has to lock the brakes, comes to a standstill, and yeah, that's what happened there to Lepisto.
go. Good call there, Stefan. We've got the replay. You explained it well. Here it is. Four-wheel lock up there. Could actually, they were so locked up, you could see the Goodyear on the sidewalls.
Well, also another spin I can report. Matthias Schett, he sadly had a spin in the Western Horseshoe there. He completely dropped off the second pack that we have. So make 3 out of the 4.
So, we are almost 20 minutes in and things have finally started to spread out here on track, but not in the GTO field. We've still got some compelling battles going on. None more important than the one for the lead. Thompson running right up on Phil Lake there. Then he loses all his momentum. Phil able to pull away. Riley's got to watch out for Ove here. Ove's driven well, and of course, as you mentioned in the pre-race there, Stefan's already won a championship this morning.
Yes, he has won already a championship, and that quite interestingly. So that was a race to watch there if you're wanting to see more classic racing. But yeah, GTO racing, Ove always was a man to watch, sadly not having the best of results in this season. But he surely wants to finish out this season with the high.
A win would be a good high, indeed. And this battle will continue for the top 3. Is like I mentioned before, if they can all stay on track together, then they'll be battling for the win at the end. This podium not settled. They have started to drop Hall a little bit, though. Hall is now looking at about a second and a half. So ever since he got past, he's struggled just a bit since Ove got around him.
Yeah, he really is struggling, and he is pretty much out of the draft already. So unless these 3 guys up ahead are starting to fight really hard, Jamie Hall is pretty much out of the contention for the win.
Walsh getting ready to come through this here soon. He's just a few seconds back here at this point. Boy, Walsh has now opened this almost to 5 seconds. What great pace here from the UK&I driver. Where you been all season, Dave?
Probably he was practicing all season long for this race.
You need a lot of practice for this bike course. It's confusing. It's confusing. These turns so slow. I was saying earlier, it almost reminds you a little bit of Interlagos here when you get through turns 6, 7, and 8 there. It really slows down.
It does slow down a whole lot, but it is pretty much what you kind of want from a bike track. A bit more technical, where the riders make the difference. But Dave Walsh is now coming up to the 4 cars ahead of him, as you can perfectly see on this shot.
And he is not going to catch these guys in a good spot, unfortunately. Boy, and they're battling for the lead right up in front of him there. Phil coming around the top side, trying to get around Riley. Riley going to keep it hard down in the turn, and here comes our leader, Dave Walsh, trying to work his way through.
Stays behind, or not.
Threads the needle there.
And just like that, Ove Trangrate in contention against Jamie Hall, right behind him. Yeah, these guys really just fight it out lap after lap after lap, not letting down a single inch.
Dave in a bad spot here. He's nothing he can do. Whoa, watch out just behind him. Ove was off track. Exploring the limits of the track, but able to keep it going in the right direction.
Well, the good thing right here for Dave is that in the infield, the Audi is actually faster than the Nissan. So he did not lose any time whatsoever behind Phil and Riley. But here is where he starts to lose time. Oh no, he doesn't, because he clears
Yeah,
both of them into the bus stop.
He did. Boy, right there at the end, he's able to clear it and get through. So good job by Dave Walsh being patient there through the moto part of the course. He'll hang on to this lead and that nice gap he's got up front. And the Audis, they're going to try and exchange, the GTOs exchanging positions once again. Riley Thompson going to the lead. Phil in and around the lake is stuck behind. Here comes that second place car of Ardo Yamaki. Right down below him. He gets by clean, heading down into turn 1.
And Fabian Gerber is now also coming through our GTO leaders. That's your third place GTP car. He is now right behind Phil Lake, in between the gap of Overtrangerate and Phil Lake. So Fabian Gerber has to stick his nose either out right now, as he does so perfectly, and has now wait patiently behind Riley Thompson for the backstretch.
Very well behaved field. Not a big field today. Only what did you get? 28 cars, I think, started. 26 started. Ooh, and Gerber got to be careful there as he almost gets into Riley Thompson. Back to your point you made there, Stefan, you can see where the Nissan versus the Audi here in the moto part of the course, it's pretty much an even match.
Yes, it is, and obviously out of the tight turns, the Audi just has the traction with the Quattro that it has over the Nissan. But once we get up to a little bit of speed, the downforce kicks in of this Nissan and they just blow past you. But we now have quite of an interesting situation here in GTO. We have about a 1 second gap between Riley Thompson and Phil Lake. And Phil Lake has 2 cars behind him, so obviously they're gonna close in. But Riley Thompson has the upper hand on the infield on the others, so that will be interesting how this is going to play out here.
Yeah, you know, Riley has really seemed as cool as the other side of the pillow on the moto section of the track, and that's where he's made up a lot of his time. And right now, Phil Lake just driving it hard, catching him back up here out of the horseshoe.
Phil Lake really drive his car into first turn 1 and the international horseshoe to catch up with Riley Thompson again, and so he did. So put your 4 cars off the lead once again together into one pack, and this fighting will continue.
Well, we knew this would be exciting, and it has been. Now, just about 16 and a half minutes to go. Things not even close to settled in this GTO field. But, man, Dave Walsh has really just throttled them all. Ardo Iamaki, though, coming back. He's now got this down to under a second. That big lead that Dave Walsh had getting through the traffic slowed him down. Iamaki making a run. All of a sudden, Iamaki, from out of nowhere, is back in this thing.
I think something happened to Dave Walsh, because last lap around he had 3 seconds between himself.
We missed something there with Walsh. Not sure what that was. Maybe we'll pick that up here in a moment, but the important thing is that Walsh has got to defend against Iamaki. This is exactly what Iamaki needed. The Finn has hope in sight. They've dropped Gerber. Gerber a full 5 seconds back himself. Gerber in no man's land back there in third. He's clear in front and clear behind.
I think Walsh had an off track and slowdown at the bus stop, because he was quite slow coming back through turns 3 and 4 of the oval.
Well,
but apart from that, I did not see anything.
Okay, and you know what? A slowdown in the bus stop makes sense. I was just watching his line out of the bus stop. Very easy to pick a slowdown up there if you clip that that last little curb on the left there on the exit of the bus stop. If you get a little too far over to the left of that, then they will get you with that penalty. Walsh hard on the brakes, down at 1. Oh, hey, I almost thought that car was coming around. It looked like it was getting ready to snap. He does a great job of keeping it under control. All this left to Iamaki. Walsh feeling the pressure. 3 wide here, Stefan.
While this was going on, we were 3 wide here for the GTO lead between Phil Lake, Riley Thompson, and Ove Trangerate. Ove Trangerate coming out the worst, started 3rd. He's now in 4th. Jamie Hall up to 3rd. Phil Lake put him down to 2nd. And Riley Thompson, once again, your leader of your GTO field. While all this is going on, Martin Krajcik is now making his way through your GTO leaders. He now has to wait patiently here behind the Dirty Torque racers. You can just see how these GTOs zoom away from Martin out of this right-hander.
Yeah, and because I knew I'd be subbing for Joe today, I did all of my practice in the Nissan. I'm used to practicing in the Audis, and I said this before we ever even got started today. I didn't have a lot of fun. Very, very slow down there. I don't like being that slow in the Nissan.
The Nissan feels quite interesting when you're on slow parts of the track because you don't have the downforce. So all the grip that you generate are all through the tires and your suspension. So your suspension setup has to be perfect on a track like this.
Well, Krajcik's finally going to clear this crowd. He'll have Don peek up in front of him next. But Krajcik right now, Don pulling out of the way for everybody, just letting them all through. Good job there by Don. It's a familiar looking car.
Yeah, it kind of looks familiar. That is red and white. I don't know from where though.
I've heard recently GSRC misidentified. That does stand for the Global Sim Racing Channel, regardless of any other acronym that you may hear used. At least in this context, it stands for the Global Sim Racing Channel.
All right, on that note, Riley Thompson is still first of your GTO field, getting challenged by Phil Lake. Ove Trangerate and Jamie Hall are kind of dropping off once again a little bit, but that is due to the GTP traffic that starts to rattle through this GTO field.
You know, I'm starting to wonder if we've got a battle heating up back to the Nissans in the GTU field. I wonder if we got a battle heating up between Jungbluth and Toyka. And Jungbluth has picked up several spots to get where he's at, but Toyka seems to be getting stronger as the race goes on, and they're working their way through the leaders now.
The problem for Toyka here is that he actually has so much damage that he's slower on a straight line than the Audis. So that is his biggest problem, as you were able to see. Ove Trangerate easily going past him on the straight, but obviously into the braking zone he gets past Ove Trangerate. So Timo Toyka has to work here quite a lot harder than you would normally have to do in a Nissan.
Yeah, you're right. That rear wing damage, basically the left side, the left rear wing and the left front, that is crippling the car in its straight line speed. And that is going to allow Jungbluth to continue to pull away there. So it was close for a moment, not so much new.
Don't count Timo out. He will always come back no matter what.
I haven't seen his legions of fans today. It's disturbing. I wonder where they're all at. Maybe they're shopping for Christmas. I don't know. The battle raging on here, though, in the GTOs. Riley Thompson still your leader. Team Lou trying to get through. Yep, and you can see him stalling out already here on the top side, right alongside Phil Lake. Phil now actually with more speed, and he's getting the run. Coming around.
Here comes Phil Lake, but don't count out Thibaut Toika as he will now also come to your outside. Or he will stay behind. Right, he stays behind. So he will not interrupt this battle for first position. Phil Lake now taking Riley Thompson a bit, slamming the door there on the outside for Riley Thompson. But all fair and square between the two.
Okay, now we've got a bit of a hornet's nest going on here. I mean, honestly, this is your GTOs fighting for the podium, and everybody else coming through here.
Yes, and we now have a battle within a battle. We have the GTOs fighting for the lead, and then we also have James King and Carl Kask fighting here for 8th position in your GTP field.
Kask, after early trouble, has really come back to fight hard here. Obviously, King had some trouble early, too. Yeah, I think I said this earlier. I'll say it again. Everybody's been well behaved today. We've really not seen any major incidents except for what we saw there in the very first few minutes of the race.
This could be now the moment for Carl Kask here, drafting up behind James King. Let's see if he's able to get that slipstream working for him. But yeah, once again, GTP's not able to draft up to the car in front.
So drastically different how these cars draft with one another. Oh, King's around! Watch out!
Everyone scrambles for space around James King, avoiding him just narrowly.
Oh, how did
Thompson takes the lead?
Yeah, and Thompson was the one that almost just nailed him. Thompson almost T-bones him here.
Oh, Phil Lake missing a shift out of the International Horseshoe. Move Jamie Hall up to second.
On the replay here, real quick, on board with Riley Thompson, you can see how close he comes to nailing King here. And he just gets around, and he's going to take the lead. Phil goes to the inside, Riley comes around the outside, and he goes to the lead. That's crazy. Well, that replay, you were talking about that trouble there, Stefan, with Phil missing that shift.
Yeah, the Audi is one of the hardest cars to shift, because if you don't nail your shifting times perfectly, you will miss shift and the car will either stay in your gear or go into neutral. But yeah, one Dirty Talk racer is pretty much exchanged with another one, and Jamie Hall is now trying to get round your GTO leader, that is Riley Thompson, but around the outside is around the hard side here because of the Jamie Hall doing the up and under. Can he pull it off? Very close here. Phil Lake now trying to go.
I don't think these guys have made contact once either. All these cars look clean.
Yeah, this is the fun part about these guys. They race so hard yet so clean. You won't see them touch their cars of each other a single time. And honestly, the guy to really watch here is Ove Trangroid. He's once again back to the 3 cars in front. He got split up with the other 3 because of traffic. He's now back and he wants that podium.
And he's my dark horse in this. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Ove's really got a strong shot here to... Let's face it, he's on a roll. This would be a perfect way to cap off the day for Ove. Let's see if he can take it. Only just over 5 minutes left. Probably about 4 laps left in this race here for the GTOs.
All depending on Dave Walsh, who has now put Arthur Iamaki behind once again. 4 seconds right there.
Yeah.
Gap between the two.
Yeah, the traffic seems to have sorted that out every time for Dave Walsh. He had a few tense moments here where, you know, he had to worry about Ardo being right in the mirror, filling the mirror up, and well, he's done a good job to recover from that and now open it up to almost 4 seconds as Ardo Yamaki back there right now just trying to navigate the traffic and look for an opportunity to get there. But, well, it'll be tough at this point as we are in the waning minutes of this race. Nissan field, well, they've pretty much all stretched out at this point. Nobody really close or battling for a spot. It's really a battle to keep the car on track, weave through the traffic carefully, and finish the race at this point.
Yeah, apart from these 4 cars that are battling for the lead, we also have Milan Arnosi versus Dennis Neidhart. They are for, I think that's 6th in their class. They are fighting really hard here.
Yes,
also,
they are! Ooh. Arnosi almost the recipient of a little contact there from the anvil. Dennis Neidhart. I'll explain later. I'll explain the anvil thing later to you.
the car behind that GTP car, that is already your leader of this race, but we're back up front here. That is Jamie Hall versus Philip Lake that you can see here on your screen. The 2 Dirty Talk Sim Racing cars. Let's see if they will trade positions. Phil Lake goes to the outside here. But also Jamie Hall has a bit of a run here on Riley Thompson. Thompson has to be careful. No, Jamie Hall backs out.
Now,
and yeah, they stay.
You know it's going to be entirely proper if a Mid-South driver wins at Daytona. You know that, right? So, I'm just saying, it's a NASCAR thing. So,
oh!
This!
Jamie Hall once again with problems in the International Horseshoe, giving the position to Phil Lake.
And these are teammates, folks. Dirty Torque Racing, Jamie Hall, Phil in and around the lake. Ove sitting back here in the catbird seat, just waiting for the last lap. Honestly, I mean, really at this point, it's got to be the only thing he's waiting on is the last lap to just jump out and make a move. Got to be careful here, though. Riley is running away just a little bit. He's now opened this up to almost a second. That's got him out of the tow.
Well, the tow here is about 1.5 to 2 seconds in these cars. So the tow is quite long here. And especially with these bricks that they pretty much are, the draft has quite an effect on you. Speaking about draft, here comes Ove Trangerate on Jamie Hall. Around the outside, he tries to go into turn 1. Over the start-finish line, they go for what will be the second last time here today.
Careful, Ove. He's going the wide way around. You can do this here at Daytona. There's no penalty for running out as wide as you want there.
And I can report Dave Walsh just took the white flag for himself, so he is on 1 lap to go. Phil Lake, though, he's trying to attack Riley Thompson here in the inside. Turn 4, will he try to do it?
Yeah, not yet. Not yet. Now, what is interesting is...
And goes in behind Riley Thompson for one more time.
Yeah, not yet. Not yet. Now, what is interesting is our leader, Dave Walsh, is actually starting to catch this pack in the closing laps. I mean, Dave has got the lead is marginal. I was thinking maybe he's got enough that he could back off just a little bit and stay out of that battle, but Dave's got to stay in the throttle here because Ardo Yamaki is only 2.5 seconds back. You can't play around.
I think these guys will be safe for one more lap, but wouldn't be surprised if I get proven wrong here. As Dave Walsh is now back onto the backstretch, so I think they're safe.
I think so. Yeah, I think you're right. They'll get the white flag.
Here comes Phil Lake around the outside of Riley Thompson. He has the speed, and Riley Thompson lets him pass already before the start-finish line.
Here we go. All right, let's go for Walsh now. Dave Walsh coming around. And he is your winner today in the Kamel GT Series. Big win for Walsh.
Well, in the GTO, we have Phil Lake going around once again with Riley Thompson. But now Jamie Hall is right behind Riley Thompson, so Riley has to be careful not to run into the back of Phil Lake.
Oh! Car all over the place.
Once again, very close.
What a great job by Riley there, hanging on to it. That car almost all the way around. All four wheels locked up. Ove Trengrade sitting back here, still with an outside chance in fourth.
Renato can be the wild horse. That's the black GTP behind them. If he tries to go past them on the outside in the oval section, he's gonna might give the draft to someone.
Yeah, he's going to stay out of it. He's backed off totally. Going to let these guys fight.
Oh, Riley Thompson with a mistake here.
Makes a big mistake going into the bus stop. That allows Phil Lake to run away. Phil in and around the lake through NASCAR 3 on to NASCAR 4. Does it with about 6 tenths.
This might get close. This will be close between Jamie Hall and Riley Thompson here. Jamie Hall with a lot of speed coming up to Riley Thompson, who will get this finish.
Thompson's going to get it. Thompson gets it, the second place finish, and your winner today, Phil, in and around the lake. And he will also, what a great way to wrap up his championship as we'll watch this replay here for the finish. Thompson tries to give it up here to Jamie Hall. Got it all the way down there on the flat. Riley hangs on and gets it by about half a car length. Riley taking the shorter way around, down on the apron. And everybody now enjoys a moment to let out a little bit of frustration from today's event. But great one we saw here. And what we'll do is we'll step away for a quick break here on the iRacing Esports Network and the Global Sim Racing Channel. And we'll be back in just a moment to talk to a few of these drivers and put a bow on this great presentation today. We'll be back in just a moment. And we're back here on the iRacing Esports Network. Folks, if you haven't subscribed to iRacing Esports Network yet, you can do that right now by hitting that subscribe button on your screen here on YouTube. You can also subscribe to the Global Sim Racing channel as we're presenting this race here for you today from Daytona. We just witnessed the Kamel GT Series wrap up the final round of the season here at Daytona on the Moto course today. And Dave Walsh was your big winner in the GTUs, followed by Arto Yamaku. Had a strong race, had a chance there for a moment, but just not enough for Dave Walsh today, who had incredible speed. Arto with a second place run. Fabian Gerber comes up to finish third. Antti Lepisto, I think he would probably agree this was not his best today, and a fourth place run for him. Martin Krajcik rounds out the top five. Fabian Youngbluth there in sixth. Teemu Toika manages to bring her home in seventh. Carl Kask with a decent run, he'll finish eighth. And James King will survive to finish ninth, and I'll let you take that GTO field, Stefan.
Well, Phil Lake is the winner of your GTO field, right in front of Riley Thompson and Jamie Hall. And let's not also forget Ovid Trangrade, all four putting up a very great show there throughout the race. Nicolas Mucanos up there with the four at the beginning of the race, but he dropped off and settled for a nice fifth position there. Milan Arnosi in sixth, Dennis Neidhart seventh, Franco Scurry eighth, Mathieu Chet in ninth, Hideki Koivisto rounding out your top 10 of the GTO field. Then we have a straight GTP in there, Renato that's an interesting name there, Maveito. There we go. Donald Peak there is your second last GTO to finish, and Mike Hayes your last GTO to finish.
All right, and we've got Dave Walsh. I just almost called him David Washington. Sorry about that, Dave. Dave, what a great run today, man. It all started with practice and a great qualifying effort. What's the secret to your speed here, man?
It seems to be a very high downforce compared to everyone else. Because I was talking to Arto after the race, and he was running one wing compared to my four. So I was much quicker through the infield and the bus stop, but then slower in the straights. So if he had gotten any close to, like within a second coming out of the bus stop, he would have got me. But since I was so quick through the bus stop, I was able to just pull away.
Wow.
And then hopefully not get caught. And then lap traffic was horrible.
Yeah.
Going through the infield, I had like a 5-second lead at one stage. Went through the infield behind the 4 GTO leaders, and it was gone. And then I just had to hope for more traffic to mess up Arto and Antti behind me. And luckily it did.
Yeah, what was it like when he finally got into your mirror there? Because like at one moment, like you said, you had like a 5-second lead. Then all of a sudden we look up and it's down to like 0.8 of a second, and there he is.
Yeah, it's okay for most of the lap, and then going into the bus stop, I know if I get a slowdown, or if I spin out, or if I mess up the bus stop, he's going to get me. Because I gain like a second on him through the bus stop, but he gains around the same time back before turn 1, so I'm usually okay. And the corner that exited the moto course, the infield onto the back straight, I was quicker there too. So that's where it's the only thing that was stopping me from getting past. And there was one stage, I think at the end, he was actually just quicker than me, but I got lucky with the lap traffic really, and ended up not having to pass him in the infield. And then by the end of the race, he was 5 seconds back again because he got messed up by lap cars in the bus stop.
Dave, you got to try and make a full-time run at this next season.
I would, and like I might. I usually know the Wednesday before the race because I play field hockey. So if I have a match, I'll know on Wednesday. So I might not. It just depends. Like I'll run every race I can, but I can't guarantee it.
Well, again, congratulations, Dave. We thank you for taking a moment to speak with us, and we hope to see you next week for the SimSport News 300-kilometer at Sebring.
Yeah, I will be there for that, hopefully. So yeah, see you then.
All right, and that is Dave Walsh, and our thanks to him. And I am going to hand over the interview process to Stefan because he's got Phil in and around the lake.
Yes, we are here with our GTO champion of this season with a championship worthy race there. Phil, patience throughout the race, trading places with Riley and Jamie. Talk us through your POV here.
Yeah, I was. I've been struggling a little bit for pace this week, and so I thought if I just sit in the top 3 and just stay with them till the end, and then try and figure out the best place to be on the last lap. And as the race went on, it turned out there wasn't really a best place to be. So I just thought I'd go for the front and hope for the best, and it worked out in the end.
It did work out indeed, with Riley having that bit of a wiggle there to decide the race for first place. I was kind of rooting for you guys to get a 1-2 here to end the season, and I think Riley overtook Jamie here at the end for P2. Could be wrong though. But yeah, moving forward to the next season, will you stay in GTO or are you moving up to GTP?
No, I'm going to stay in GTO for another season. The racing's so enjoyable that it'd be hard to leave.
All right, well, that is your season's champion Phil in and around the lake there for you, staying in GTO to defend his title. And Sean, I think you have caught up with Fabian Garber, our second place finisher here.
I have, yes. Wow, Fabian, interesting race. You picked up a couple positions. You finish just here on the end of the podium. Talk to us about this bike circuit here at Daytona.
Oh, the circuit itself is horrible, to be honest. Didn't like it at all. I think nobody liked it. I don't know why we drove it. I have no idea. And maybe the ones who wanted it to drive didn't even drive. I'm not really sure. But yes, but nevertheless, it's the same for everyone. And I tried as hard as I could. I had a bad qualifying, but I couldn't have made pole anyway. I was too slow. And yeah, I don't know. I just gave everything, tried hard, and made it up to third. And I'm not sure how I should feel because I'm in front of Antti, which is good. Who is really close behind me in the standings, season standings, but Arthur is in front of me, so I'm not sure if I'm looking at the right stats, if it's already updated. I don't know if I have made it already.
Well, I mean, on the standings that we had going into this race, I mean, you were up by 38 points over Ardo Iamaki. So I'm going to call you champ. Congratulations. We'll just leave it at that. So
okay.
I mean, yeah, it's
okay. Then that's good. I have a bit more now, so it's
yeah. Yes.
Thank you very much.
I think you're going to be. I think you're going to be okay. But yeah, it's been a great season, and it really, these seasons are all about having some consistency, aren't they?
Yes, very much. So I had about half of the races I won, not quite all, but consistency is very important. I always made points, not always, but most of the time, and they count up. So it's important to participate in the races and to finish well, and then you have a chance. But yes, it was the toughest season ever in my iRacing career. It was really close in the end, but very enjoyable to drive in this series.
Yeah, and it's enjoyable watching you run and getting to call the races that you're in. Next week, though, it's an endurance race, so you got to change your thinking a little bit. How does that change?
I haven't looked into that, actually. I don't know if I can drive it. I'm not sure. I have to see.
Okay. Well, we hope
I
you're there.
concentrated on the season now, and yeah, I hope so too. But actually, I think I have dinner plans then. But I don't know the time even when the race is, so I have to see. I would actually love to drive it because I like Sebring a lot, and I also won Sebring this season. So it's one I would like to drive.
You've got a setup ready and a winning car. Well, Fabian, congratulations on a great season. Any sponsors you'd like to thank?
No. Well, maybe Blaupunkt. I have a Blaupunkt radio in my car, so that's why I chose this livery. So thank you, Blaupunkt.
All right. Well, and thank you, Fabian Gerber. We'll see you soon, and hopefully next week, and when we all get back together again for the Camel GT series. But boy, what a great season there for Fabian Steffen, and I think you've got one last person you want to talk to, and I think that's Mr. Riley Thompson.
It is Mr. Riley Thompson, indeed. Very unlucky last bus stop there for him, getting pressured into a little mistake, costing him the chance at the win. But he is able to defend second place there from Jamie Hall. Riley, talk us through your race there. You were trading positions quite a lot there throughout the race.
Yeah, the whole time I was just trying to break the draft whenever I got the chance. But in the end, it was just me making mistakes and the draft pulling them back in.
Yeah, it was quite a tricky situation there for everyone, having first a train of 9 cars behind you, and then it slowly started to starve out. We already know that you're gonna stay in GTO for the next season, but obviously you will have to try to go for the GTO championship and take it away from Phil Lake there next season. But going forward to the one last clash of the Camel GT for the 2018 Season 4 at Sebring. How ready are you and excited are you about that endurance event?
I'm pretty excited. At Road America in our last special event, I feel like I wasn't up to pace. But taking the win in the official series when we were there a couple weeks ago, I have a ton of confidence going into next.
Well, Riley Thompson is ready for the Sebring 300, but the question is, are you, Sean? Are you also ready for the one last clash that is the Camel GT 2018 Season 4 season? That was Riley Thompson here at GSRC. And yeah, Sean, how ready are you for Sebring?
I'm ready, man. I love Sebring. It's a track not favored by a lot of drivers, but I like the challenge of that old dirty circuit. I don't know. It just brings back such great memories from the golden age of motorsports here in the United States. You think of some of the names that Dan Gurney and Paul Newman, of course, cut his teeth, learned how to basically drive a race car at Sebring. But you talk about famous drivers. They've all been there. Andretti, Foyt, even the NASCAR guys have crossed over and run down at Sebring over the years. Names like Earnhardt and Petty, Allison's have all run there. So it's going to be an exciting event. It's a tough track to have an endurance event on, obviously. Famous for the 12 hours of Sebring. I can't wait to get there. We hope to see everyone there next week. We'll be posting details throughout the week about the SimSport News 300K next Sunday. Notice the time change. It'll actually be on Sunday. But it's time to wrap this one up, as it's been a great race. Lots of people to thank, especially iRacing and the iRacing Esports Network. Again, if you haven't done it yet, hit the button's red. It says subscribe. That means you haven't subscribed yet. So you got to hit the button, subscribe, and then jump over to the Global Sim Racing channel right here on YouTube. Also, give us a subscription too. Why not? We've got lots of racing going on, especially this weekend. Up next on the Global Sim Racing channel here in just a little bit, the Mazda, the MX-5 World Tour, brought to you by Huisigfeld, coming up. And then right after that, we've got the Majors, their charity event this afternoon. So if you've been watching the Majors all weekend, you want to watch the charity event today. And then GSRC will be back to cap off a long Saturday tonight with the Bootleg Racing League from Lucas Oil Raceway in Indianapolis, Indiana. We want to thank the Camel GT community. We want to thank them for coming back for season 1 of 2019. That'll get started in a couple weeks. And again, thanks to IESN. We also want to thank the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts. I'm bringing those up on your screen now. And of course, Eric Ekholm and June Lalonde play a big part of that as they bring us this wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of them. I do want to thank everybody today. I want to thank Stefan especially for coming in, filling in for me. And while I filled in for Joe, and I want to thank Amjad for keeping us steady and keeping the ship on course, as he always does. The great Dougie Beard for all those camera sets that you come used to watching here on the Global Sim Racing channel. If you'd like to find out more about us and what we do, well, go to our website, Global Sim Racing Channel, or hit us up on social media. We're all over it. You can find us on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook, just type in Global Sim Racing Channel, real easy drill there. Instagram, yeah, we're on the gram, GSRC_gram, and listen, we're streaming everywhere, Facebook, Twitch, you name it. We're here to accommodate all of you, but remember, hit that subscribe button before you leave here on the iRacing Esports Network. Our next race, as I mentioned, here for the Kamel GT Series, is going to be the Sim Sport News Sebring 300K, Sunday, December 9th, 11:45 a.m. Eastern. And, of course, we've got our upcoming races for other series that's on your screen. Check those out. Mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you all on the track.